Hey guys, it's Pastor Gage here with Alyssa, and we're doing something a little bit different today. Today we're going to do our devotion together, and the reason we're doing that is because today's devotion has to do with worship. So I thought, what better way than to bring our worship leader on board for this one? And she's just so thrilled that her husband threw her in front of the camera. She loves that. So, but we're going to have some fun with it today. The way we're going about this is we both have brought our own scriptures. Basically just kind of is like our own perspectives of what worship is. And we'll kind of maybe talk a little bit about that. But Alyssa, you want to kick us off with your scripture here?
Yep. So mine is Psalm 40, 9 through 10. Starts with verse 9. So I proclaim your saving acts in the great assembly. I do not seal my lips, Lord, as you know. I do not hide your righteousness in my heart. I speak of your faithfulness and your saving help. I do not conceal your love and your faithfulness from the great assembly. It talks about not concealing how we feel or the words that we feel like we're supposed to be using to proclaim how we feel about God. And we can do that through worship. There's a lot of songs that I feel like directly speak to things that have happened to me in my past or in my current life. So we talk a lot about grace, humility, thankfulness. All those words, are common themes in worship songs. And so I'm not going to seal my lips to any of that. I'm going to proclaim that. I'm not just going to speak them or sing them, but I'm having not just a horizontal relationship with the song. I'm going to have a vertical relationship. So I'm going to say that directly to him. That relationship of just saying, God, I know you've seen me through this, and I know maybe I'm going through this right now, but this is how I feel, and I'm still going to rejoice and celebrate what you've done for me, that you've saved me.
Preach. Let me read to you my verse here from Colossians 4. It says, wives, submit to your husbands. Oh wait, that's the wrong verse. It says, let the message about Christ in all its richness fill your lives. Teach and counsel each other with all the wisdom he gives. Sing psalms and hymns and spiritual songs to God with thankful hearts. And whatever you do or say, do it as a representative of the Lord Jesus, giving thanks through him to God the Father. And the reason I chose this verse to read today is, kind of like what you're talking a little bit about. And I know we have a lot of conversations about this, and I know you're talking from, the corporate worship, and I think that's good. But we've also had a lot of conversations about how worship is an attitude. It's not just something we do. It's not an action. It's an attitude that we stow away in our hearts. And so it's not about just the singing. It's the attitude that we approach with. It's humility. It's reverence and just kind of standing in the original meaning of the word, the awesome power of who God is. So now that we're in the season of worshiping online, and I know you pour a lot of thought and prayer and energy into just the songs and all that stuff every week. If there's one thing you could communicate to everyone at home, one thing you could let them know, what would it be?
Just know that regardless of where you are or whatever situation you're in, you can worship, in the Bible they talk about people worshiping in jail, and stuff like that. And so if people can worship in jail, you can worship from home. It's just an attitude that you have to have. No matter what, God, no matter what's going on in this world, I'm always going to worship you. You have died for me. The least I can do is have a worshipful attitude and remember what you've done for me.
It's kind of freeing, when we recognize that worship is an attitude. It's not just a 15-minute segment on Sunday mornings. Mm-hmm. Worship is an attitude. When we view it that way, now we can worship in any way, in any place, in any time.
I think you have to think of it in that perspective of what attitude am I giving off to God right now? If you're just standing there, and sometimes in worship, you are just standing there and you're just kind of meditating on the words and kind of what's going on in your life or what God's done for you. And that's fine too. I'm not expecting you to have your hand up, screaming the words, although I really love that. If you're having a worshipful experience.
It makes it a little bit easier when you're up there singing.
Right, but if that's you meditating on it or you sitting down and just having some prayer time with God, that's great too.
Do you have any other thoughts as we close?
Don't worry about what other people are going to say or think, if you've got your hand up suddenly or, you just dropped to your knees in prayer or you're weeping or whatever that is, you know, it's about that vertical relationship. That's far more important than anybody else in the room.
So it's kind of like when you have your hands up, you're worshiping, and then it hits you like, I didn't put deodorant on today. Like, so I shouldn't focus on that.
No.
Okay.
Let the BO out.
Well, I hope today, this is kind of just a conglomeration of thoughts, really. But I wanted to do this together, and I wanted to, maybe give another perspective that could speak into your life. Hope this was beneficial to you. I know this is going on here pretty long, so I want to end it here. But church, be blessed today. Remember, worship is an attitude. It's an attitude. It's a decision you make to worship God for who He is, not with in mind of what's right or what's wrong with you. So be blessed. We love you guys.